Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Kohala Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Rakakudash, double honesty, apostles and elders, a great millstone, and salutations to you brothers that's pushing this word in sincerity and truth. Just got another article for you, for brothers. Esau writes up these articles. This is from the NBC news.com. Now, if you paying attention, everybody's paying attention, but they had the Russia probe with Donald Trump. So, we know that there's going to be ultimately a third world war with the Russians and the Chinese and the Iranians. So Esau, what he does is he puts this information out here basically to sow public opinion because he wants the public to approve of this war between Russia and the United States. And there is a war going on between Russia and the United States right now. It's not physically with the guns yet, but ultimately it's going to get there and it's going to lead to the thermonuclear destruction. So this had an article because it involves you tribes, in particular you so-called Negroes of the tribe of Judah or Benjamin and Levi. All right, so this is Russia documents reveal desire to sow racial discord and violence. Now we know that racial discord is already here. So the only thing the Russians would be doing is basically picking a side or basically using Jake. But we're going to get into this article. It says the revelation comes as U.S. intelligence agencies have warned of probable Russian meddling in the 2020 election, because you got that shit going on with the Russian elections, and all of a sudden hackers are hacking stuff and swaying public opinion. But basically the American people are just fed up with the status quo, and it's nothing that Russia's doing that people don't already have in their mind, that the elected officials are full of shit, so on and so forth. But this article was written May 20th, so it's a fairly recent article. Richard England, Kate Binyon, Tinker, and Kenneth Warner are the authors of this article. Now, this is London, and I don't know how serious these accusations or this intelligent is, but the fact of the matter remains that you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are a potential threat to this so-called New World Order, the microchipping of the masses of you. So basically here's the article. It says London Russians who were linked to interference in 2016 U.S. election discuss ambiguous plans to stoke unrest and even violence inside U.S. as recent as 2018, according to documents reviewed by NBC News. The documents communications between associates of Yevgen Prigozhin, excuse me if I got it wrong. It says a Kremlin-linked oligarch indicted by special counsel Robert Mueller for previous influence operations against the U.S. laid out a new plot to manipulate and radicalize African Americans. The plan showed that Prigozhin's circle has sought to exploit racial tensions well beyond Russia's social media and misinformation efforts tied to the 2016 elections. The documents were obtained through the Dossier Center, a London-based investigative project funded by Russian opposition figure Mikhail Khodorkovsky. NBC News has not independently verified the material. Keyword NBC News has not independently verified the material, but they put it out there though. It says, but forensic analysis by the Dossier Center appeared to substantiate the communication. One document said that President Donald Trump's election had deepened conflicts in American society and suggested that if successful, the Influence Project would undermine the country's territorial integrity and military and economic potential. So basically, America is on the fritz. America's teetering on the brink of collapse. And according to this document, according to this this guy, the Russians are trying to exploit it, and basically they're trying to use Jake to exploit it, according to unsubstantiated communications, all right, that they have put out there. It says the revelation comes
comes as U.S. Intelligence agencies have warned probable Russian meddling in the 2020 election. The document contained proposals for several ways to further exacerbate racial discord in the future, including a suggestion to recruit African Americans and transport them to camps in Africa for combat prep and training and sabotage. Those recruits who then be sent back to America to foment violence and work to establish a Pan African state in the South, particularly in South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Which, if that was the case, that would start a race war in these countries because these countries are heavily known for their racist their history in their state legislature of being racist or racism. Mississippi and Louisiana included. It said there is no indication that the plan, which is light on details, was ever put into action, but if offered a fresh example of the mindset around Russian efforts to sow discord in the United States. Now, I'm not going to read any more of this article. If you want to read this article, Lord's Will, I'll put it in post production. But like I said, this situation with the Russians and these other countries is going to lead to ultimately the microchip because Esau is going to need to know if you're basically enemy combatant or if you're down with the new world order. So I'll just get Revelation 13 and 16. It says, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Because everybody's going to have to be identified when this war pops off, man. Because, with when World War II happened, who did they target? They targeted the Japanese, the Italians, and the Germans because it was a war. Now, this time, you can't put all those type of people into a concentration camp. So what you would have to do is you have to chip them, basically. In essence, you have to chip them. And why? Now, this is what it says in Job 18 and 11. It says, terror shall make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. Yeah, because all the terrors that are taking place in the midst of this world war, because when America goes over there into the Middle East, all hell is going to break loose, man. All hell is going to break loose. Their army is going to be driven. The Lord said in the book of Joel, I will bring out the northern army. The northern army, it speaks about the northern army being removed far from their borders into a land barren and desolate. All right, so there's going to be an invasion of European European blue hats or United Nations soldiers to patrol the streets of America. But in verse 11 it says, terror shall make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. Yeah, and part of that terror is our people rising up. It's not going to be of the Russians. It's going to be Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. Go to Genesis 49, and it says Judah, verse 49 and 8. It says, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Yeah, because the scriptures say that our hand shall be in the neck of the enemies. All right, it says, Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, because so-called Negroes is looked at as an old lion, man. It says, who shall rouse him up? The Heavenly Father is going to rouse Judah up. All right. Matter of fact, let's go to Isaiah. Let me see.
because all this article was is to basically point the spotlight on the
so-called Negroes. Um, that basically their threat. Okay, along with the Russians. All right, which is another tribe of Edomites, so to speak. This is Isaiah 19:17. It says, "And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt." Now, Egypt represents you so-called Edomites, okay? Because you're the modern day Egyptians. It says, "Everyone that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself because of the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he have determined against it." So the Lord have determined that you modern day Egyptians, you so-called white people, you Edomites, okay, the Judah, all right, so-called Negroes are going to be a terror unto you, okay? So basically that's what's coming, and it's not going to be at the hands of some Russian oligarch, okay, that put it into the mind of some poor Negroes that don't know what's going on, all right, and basically start a insurrection. It's going to be of the Lord, all right, that's going to bring a uprising of Jake, because these prophecies have to be fulfilled. Now, there's a good movie. If brothers haven't seen it, you should take a look at it. It's called The Spook That Stood by the Door. Now, when you look into these articles that Esau writes, really, this is what Esau's fear is. His fear is that he loses control over his slaves, mainly the tribe of Judah. All right, because what the scriptures say that all in Genesis 49, because it said Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. It said thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. Esau is really scared of Judah rising up. Okay, that's what he's really afraid of. And see all the wickedness that he's doing to our people. He's afraid that an outside influence, such as the so-called Russians, all right, and the Russians are not going to save you, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Only Yahweh Shem Al Shah is going to save you. But he's scared that there will be some type of outside influence. That was what COINTELPRO was about, because they was afraid that of the communist threat. They was afraid that the communists were infiltrating different Jake organizations, and they would be influenced to rise up against the government. And this is nothing but the old Esau Edom basically being afraid and showing that he's looking at you so-called Negroes, you different groups, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and that you have to be spied upon. That's all this is, man. That's why you got to watch these articles and see what's going on. See what the agenda is being pushed. All right, but I'm not going to make this video too long. Lord's will, brothers, were edified. Now you know there's another angle that Esau is coming with to implement the mark of the beast, the RFID microchip, that everybody is a potential terrorist, and that the Russians are behind you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, in particularly you so-called Negroes, all right, to basically within destabilize your country, all right. But Yahweh Bashim Al Shah is going to deliver us out of America, and the Russians are going to destroy America along with these other nations. Okay, so with that, all praises to Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, Bashim Kakwadash, double honors to you, you elders, apostles, you apostles that's teaching this word that we learn from, and shalom to you brothers that's pushing this word in sincerity and truth. All right, the persecution is coming. All right, just prepare for it and embrace it, as this being the end of our suffering. Until the next episode, shalom.